since
Yeah.
we found fire, we became lazier. First, like the idea, basically the concept of the Attay Experience basically is like it was supposed to be, I mean, it still is, like the audience is still like Moroccans, but it's also with like we are also aiming for Africans. So that's why I want it to be like French speaking, but at the same time in Africa you have
A
people
little
that
bit of
speaks
English,
English
yeah.
too also, so it's also interesting for them. So that's why I think I'll probably play around, between both English
Yeah,
and
you have to
French.
see like when you start getting more subscribers and you just see like where they're from and like what kind of stuff they like.
Yeah, but there is definitely like the mindset is definitely to have like a podcast that is oriented towards Africans, and then it's just chill. There is no like we are all like not expert on anything. Like even my friends that I bring, I think like
Yeah.
I think they are like interesting. They have some stuff to say that are interesting, and you don't find stuff like these in Africa. I don't know in India how it works, but you don't find those kind of like channels that gives the voice to like young people like us and let them express what they have to say or what they think, or share
I
stuff
think
like
there's
that.
quite a bit of it, but then also, yeah, like there's a billion fucking people in the country, so there's people who do everything. What, you want me to introduce myself and shit or what?
Oh, no need. I'll introduce you myself.
Better be
I'll
some nice
introduce you.
words.
Oh, man, no worries. But really, I really wanted to bring you like here to talk, and I know you have a lot of interesting stuff to say. Especially, I don't know that many friends who are interested in space. So that's the thing.
Mhm.
I think you're the only one who like
I was
opened
about
my
to say
eyes.
that many. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's that many except me.
There is absolutely no one. I think there is absolutely no one. Maybe I have one friend in Morocco. Maybe I know one who maybe like talk about it, but there is no one who has like that much knowledge or even consider like doing it. You
Yeah,
don't you don't end up meeting many
like
people
proper
telling you
passion about it. Yeah.
proper passion. Like you have kids, they will tell you I want to be an astronaut or some shit. When they're when they're kids, but no one like fulfill that and reach that and actually consider I don't know anything in
Yeah.
space.
No, I
But I think for
definitely
you,
will
you
chat
had that
about it.
passion. But I think for you, you had
Yeah,
that
I mean,
passion
for
for a
me, it
long time.
started when I was 15, 16. Like, I just kind of like learned a little bit about it. And it was just the more I learned, like, the more interested I got, like, it was just mind blowing completely. And it's
Yeah.
just super interesting, especially to be in a time now where it's not just like, in the middle 50 years was so boring, nothing happening. And then now in the last 10 years, it's just blowing up again. So
Yeah.
it's the perfect timing as well.
I think from what I see is that it seems like it's taken a step further. Like the past few years, you see like there is something like there is like you're in marketing, so you can see that people are now talking more about it. They are seeing it there. It looks cool. It looks cool to know about space. It looks cool to talk about space. You know,
Yeah. No, of
wait,
course,
wait.
like it also comes hand in hand with having like you said, of course, the social media, but also like good cameras that you take out into space and you take pictures of like Earth and the stars. And like that's what generates interest as well. Because if you think back in the 60s, 70s, the pictures are black and white. You can barely understand what's happening.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think now you can easily understand it in a way. It's not that complex anymore, or at least they explain it now in a way where everyone can understand it and everyone can have a say. Like me, I can talk about it and I know shit. I don't know that much, and I know you have that much detailed, and there are some people they know even more. The ones that are on the thing and that
Yeah.
are on the ground, they know probably some much more details than us too. But we still
Mhm.
can talk about it, have an opinion, and it seems like it doesn't seem that futuristic anymore. It seems now more
Yeah.
and more, and we'll talk about it later. But it seems like you can feel it
It's
that it's
reachable.
happening.
Yeah.
Like now you see like I don't know, there was just recently, now you see China sending stuff, Russia sending people over. Just recently I
Yeah.
think SpaceX sent people over, but it's like the
Yep.
international thing.
The ISS, yeah.
But yeah.
No, literally in the last 2 weeks, I think Israel has launched, New Zealand has launched, India, China, Japan, SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, like it's everyone is jumping into this.
But I just want to make it
Yes.
clear, man. I want to there is one thing that I don't understand and it doesn't make sense
Okay.
to me. Like we sent
Mm-hmm.
one person to the moon. a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
US sent a person to
Mm-hmm.
the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent a whole person to go to the moon. And now it's been many years and we didn't send anyone back to the moon.
Yeah.
We're only sending one machine to bring back 2 kilograms of rocks.
Of rocks, yeah.
So we were able to send someone to the moon. Like when was it? In 80 something?
69.
In 69, bro. In 69.
Yep. So
We sent
literally, that's why we said last year was the 50-year anniversary of Neil Armstrong reaching the moon.
yeah. So in 69, we sent someone to the moon, a whole person to the moon. And after I don't know how many years, we haven't sent anyone to the moon, if I'm not wrong. No one.
Forget the moon. We've not sent anyone anywhere except the space station.
Yeah.
And the space station is only about 120 kilometers away.
So we were
So if you
only
get in your,
able, yeah.
so if you can get in your car and drive straight up, you'll be there in an hour.
Damn, that's the thing. And we just now we are only sending one machine to bring back 2.5 kg of rocks. So what's
Yes.
I mean, it raises question whether that thing is true or not. I think it's I think probably it might be true or
Yeah.
not. I don't know, but they probably have like there is definitely an effect that they didn't
Yeah.
realize until they reach back.
Yes.
Because
It's not that we cannot do it now. Like, of course we can, but I think a big part of it was the space race, right? But like the Cold War era between US and Russia, where they were willing to take certain level of risk, where if there's even a 30% chance that, these astronauts will die, they were willing to take that risk. And now when we say even if there's a 2% chance, we're not willing to take that risk, right? So like the motivation is different. And apart from that, also, I think, like, what interest do we have, right? If we say we want to go to the moon, earlier it was just to be the first person, and that's why no one went again. But now we're seeing more and more that the moon has certain resources, like water, like oxygen in the rocks, like, whatever else I don't know the details, but there's resources there that we need. And we can also use it as like a base. So that's why, you see China going there to see, in which part of the moon is the water there, where's this, where's that, and to figure that stuff out before they again start sending people.
yeah,
So it's a different approach of like actually taking it step by step versus like just balls out going like, I don't care if people die or we spend billions and billions down the drain. It's just we have to get there.
mm.
So it's just that difference.
I think even financially, it doesn't make really a lot of sense to just spend that much money just to send someone again back there, and it's only doesn't make sense. So as you said, like in
Yeah,
terms of that
like
time,
with the amazing robotics we have, there's no need to send a person when you can send,
yeah,
amazingly high-tech robots that can do not as well, but close enough.
that's true. That's true. So how about Mars thing, man?
The
Every
Mars
year,
thing,
man. You said
yeah,
I'm
every
not
year is
sure we
going to be
could.
this year.
Every year it's gonna be this year, but
No, but I'm going to be a bit more realistic when I'm talking to you this time because, I have to show face. Other people are looking as well. But I think in the next 10 years, there will be like a colony, right? So like a few hundred people, right? And that doesn't begin like one day you just send 100 people, like next year you'll start sending like some robots and some steel, and then they start building structures and resources, and you start build the solar panels and all that stuff. So it's really that which will take 5 to 6 years, and then we'll start sending people. And again, they'll be the engineers and the mechanics and the crazy amazing scientists. And then 15 years down the road, when we are about 35, that's when, it's realistic for me to think that before I'm 40, I can be on Mars myself. Like, I think that's very realistic, very conservative.
like there was this launch that they did, I think last year or something, from SpaceX. Like they sent a whole, like they even sent like a Tesla car or something like that, or that sort.
That was just too random. That wasn't actually targeted anywhere. But like if you look at it, yeah, there was the Indian satellite that went last year, which failed. So it reached, but then the landing, the parachute didn't deploy or something. It's classified information, but There was an Indian satellite that went to Mars. There's already like I think 3 American rovers. There's Curiosity. There's I don't even remember then Endurance and one more. So we already have. Imagine there's cars of ours driving around on Mars,
All right. That's
right? So they're there. They're doing the research. They're finding the correct place where we should set up our base. Um, it's happening, dude. Step by step. Every day you open the news and something new is happening about Mars. And I think it's super, like, what I think is super interesting about Mars is that it's called our sister planet because a lot of people think that, like, it was like because it's so similar and like Mars was just like a billion years older than Earth. So it was Earth a billion years ago. It had the water, the oceans, the rivers, the valleys, rainfall, green, and not green, but like blue, like a blue planet, not a red planet like we see now. And in many ways, we see now Earth the same way, nice blue green planet, and we're fucking it up. And it's becoming that overheated, dry kind of area.
mm,
So it's really interesting to research Mars and see like how it happened, how we can reverse it, and then do the same thing on Earth, right? Because the goal is
mm,
we still want to be an Earth civilization. We don't want to become Martians.
yeah. But I mean, there is a fact that is we are getting closer to the sun, and we have the ozone that is also opening more
Hmm.
and more. So there is
And especially the greenhouse gases, yeah.
yeah. So there is a scientific fact that at one point we won't be able, especially with the society we have now, we won't be able to sustain there. No, but from what I understand, so Mars looks like Earth a billion years before, or is it
In the
other way?
future. So Earth is like the future and Mars is the past. So
Exactly,
Mars
exactly.
used to be like Earth and Earth will become like Mars.
But how confident are they about this like fact? Like how confident are do they already make like some, I don't know, with all the temperature and the fact that Mars is way further than Earth, we are closer to the sun, so there are some conditions that makes that Earth
Hmm.
is different, because we are closer to the sun and our position, and what makes them confident that Mars might develop like Earth? If you advance in a billion year, it will actually be exactly like Earth. I think there are also some gravity difference. There are many like elements that
Yeah,
are different
so
between.
so gravity wise, not so much of a difference, but give me a second. Can you put screen share in your podcast? Like you'll see the video, right?
Now if you screen share from you, I can see. That's all right. You can screen share, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Wait. So basically, how they know that Mars used to be like Earth is so if you think of like the Grand Canyon, you've disabled screen sharing. If you think of the Grand Canyon in US, right? What happened is it starts off as a flat land, and then slowly there's just a mountain and the rivers start flowing. And the
Mm,
river keeps flowing and flowing, and it takes, 1 inch of the mud away. And then over millions of years, that tiny little river becomes a freaking canyon of like 500 meters deep and 2 kilometers wide.
mm,
So you see those exact same structures of rivers coming from the mountains and digging into the soil and making these valleys and canyons and oceans.
mm,
So that's how we know. And of course, we also know that there is water on Mars. Like definitely, there's polar ice caps. The same way we have polar ice caps on Earth, there actually are polar ice caps on Mars. Like we know this for a fact.
okay. So now the question
Right.
is,
So
so now the
mhm.
question is that it needs more water substance for it to be like Earth, right? Or to create all those like life things that are existing. It needs more water.
Yeah, it needs liquid water, right? So
Okay.
basically, what happens is like all the water on these polar ice caps is frozen. And so, like, basically, if you have ice, the sunlight kind of reflects off it and goes back out, which
Mm,
makes it even colder. But then, if you start melting these ice caps and it becomes
mm,
water then absorbs the heat and it holds onto it.
mm,
So then it starts this cycle of heating up, the ice melts more water, more heating up, more melting, right? And
So
so the biggest debate that people have is how should we go about melting it? And the G that Elon Musk is, he's saying we just take nuclear bombs, done. You
yeah.
know, like instantly you have oceans and water, rivers on Mars.
So he's trying to create a Big Bang by himself.
Not a Big Bang, but what happened to the dinosaurs?
That's what they call the Big Bang, no? No, I mean not
No,
the
the
Big
Big
Bang.
Bang is how they.
Oh no, yeah. I see what you mean. What they call it again?
It's just the extinction. No, it's one of the great
Extinction.
extinctions,
Yeah.
right? And that's another reason we have to go to Mars, because basically in human history we've had, I think, 5 extinction level events, where like I think they define it as 30% of all the animals and plants on the planet died.
Mm.
Right? So it's as simple as sometimes it was just a massive volcano erupting, sometimes it was an asteroid coming and hitting, and sometimes it was as simple as just there was a species that like it can eat everything, but nothing can kill it. So it just goes on a rampage and destroys everything. So
Cannot.
so what like go ahead.
I mean, just keep saying. I will add it later.
Yeah, so basically what's like my thing is if it's happened 5 times in the past, it 100% will happen again. So we have to be ready. Like imagine we've the level we've come to where we have computers and cities this big and like amazing civilization, and to lose it all in one blink of an eye because of something is so stupid that a rock hit us, I think that's retarded. But if you have even 1 million people living on Mars, you're set. Like nothing can destroy the human race at that point.
I think we think too high of ourselves, even though because we were able to be like at the top of the food chain right now. Like we are at the top. Like as you said, we are the one making animals getting extinct. Like we are destroying everything around. But I'm not sure we are that. Like we're thinking too high of ourselves. We're not that special. I think if you compare us to other things.
I mean, like, see, we're not the smartest, we're not the most hardworking, we're not the quickest, we don't have the best eyes. Like, in literally no way are we the best animal in
I'm
the world.
I'm telling you, man. This I told you last time. Since
Yeah.
we found fire, we became lazier.
Yeah, of
Since
course.
we
I mean,
since
the
we
whole point
we
of science
since
is to make us see.
yeah, since we found out about fire and we created fire, we became lazy. And then all the problems started from that point. From the creation of
Yep.
fire, we became lazy. We found what is comfort. I think from fire, we
Mhm.
know what's comfort. Back then, we used to survive and try to, but now
Yeah, it
with
was like
comfort,
survival, exactly. Yeah.
now with fire, we get comfort. And now we realize that we can create things and we can like create more comfort. And there are things we don't need to do, you know? We don't need to use
Hmm.
this kind of things to do something. I don't know whether they found tools before finding about fire. I think fire was first before finding out about
No, no,
creating
no.
tools.
Tools were first.
Tools were first
Hmm. And if I'm not wrong, I think tools were first, and then they used the tools to make fire.
because fire was very simple. You took two rocks and then you
Yeah.
blow that.
Yeah.
And I think, and apparently, like it takes generation and generation just for like one thought of how this process can be made to reach fire. It took generation and
Hmm.
generation. Like one monkey or whatever it was, he fucking hit a
He did
rock,
it. Yeah.
just like that happened, that he hit a rock to one point, and then there is some spark that happened.
Yeah, and he was probably
I
shit
think,
scared and he ran away.
and then maybe he was like, "What the fuck?" And then maybe he called to the other one, and like, "Ooh," like that,
Look.
like a dumbass. and then, and then like they saw that shit, they were like, "What the fuck?" And then one maybe after maybe whatever generation, I think that they thought it was a game or something.
Yeah.
It was funny or something. And
And then
then
the
one
spark
guy
made a
maybe
fire. Yeah.
he hit one thing and the spark, but it takes time to do it. Like it's not like one hit and then you get the fire.
Yeah.
So it's a whole process. So I think like it's like we are teaching us each other something, and then we are teaching our kids, and then our kids are teaching the others, and then there is like some kind of like a thought that expand itself and go further. And as dumb as fire is, maybe like back then, it took like maybe 100 years or something to actually reach that point of creation of fire, actually.
No, but also you have to think of like what fire did, right? It's not just the comfort, but it gave people the thing that, okay, now I'm safe, I have heat, so you can spend your time on the next level, right? So like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy, right, the first one is
Yeah,
literally food, water, heat, shelter,
yeah,
right? So if this gets you past that first level and into the second level, now you can start worrying not just about can I live to see tomorrow, but how can I make tomorrow better
for sure, for sure, for sure. But I'm more
and like
talking about
actually
like,
unleash
yeah,
that mental potential.
yeah. I think that's how it came, but like I'm more like, I was more talking about like the idea of creation and invention, and how like back then, for something that we think is dumb, we don't realize that it might have taken years and years to reach that like level. And now like we see it now, like 10 years ago, and now like we are moving so fast, we are creating faster than before. Like we are moving faster now, like our intelligence gets so much better,
Of
that
course,
we
yeah.
are like we are moving way fast, way fast. Like maybe those 10 years that you're thinking, it might come in 5 years, because things are happening. Like we're creating a vaccine in like 1 year, man. That shit takes usually 5 to 10 years. We create that shit in like 1 year.
5 years, yeah, at least. Yeah.
These things, like when there was a pandemic back then, it used to take 20 years. It used to like decimate like the plague. I
300
don't know.
million people, 500 million people dying, yeah.
The plague, like how long did it take? I don't remember. I don't have the exact number, but it took ages. And even back then, like pandemic used to exist even for a long time. They used to exist. And pandemic usually they take years and years until you find some remedy or find a solution, or your body get adapt to it. So it's either you
Hmm.
adapt to it, or later on you find a vaccine for it, or you find a solution, a remedy for it. So that's the thing. Now we find it in 1 year. Maybe later on, when we get sick, maybe we'll take 2 weeks and we find a vaccine,
Yeah, like
something
which
like
one
that.
is that? Like these, these space movies. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but basically it's like they found this little alien thing and they brought it into the spacecraft, and then because it was hot in there, it like reactivated and then started killing everyone. So in that movie, literally in like 2 weeks, they create the vaccine to kill this virus.
Damn.
And it's not even like in a lab in the middle of space on a space station. You have everything you need to just like synthesize a vaccine. Like that's like how the levels will get to eventually.